This attack with a dog in Modesto happened on Dauphin Drive this afternoon near Creekwood Drive. CBS 13's Madison Keevy is there with the details. Madison.
A 93-year-old woman parks her car in front of her house after a doctor's appointment. But before she can go from the sidewalk to the grass to her front door, she's taken down by two Cane Corsos that have bite strength stronger than lions. And neighbors believe if it weren't for them intervening, she may have not survived.
You see her laying there, like, what are you gonna do, walk away? I mean, we knew they weren't friendly.
The dogs, two Cane Corsos, caught on Dendulk's doorbell camera moments before an attack, now under investigation by Modesto PD.
I just opened the door and we left the screen, and they're the two big old dogs, and I'm like, oh, we're not gonna answer the door.
She knew their history, growling at neighbors on walks, terrifying sounds overheard from her neighbor's backyard, enough to keep her daughter away.
Once we started hearing them fight each other and try to break down the gate, I wouldn't let her go over there anymore.
Moments after this video, Modesto PD say the dogs went on to attack Dendulk's 93-year-old neighbor. She intervened. Enough time to pull the woman, injured on multiple parts of her body, inside her home. But the dogs didn't stop there.
And the dog runs up at me, and so I run back in the house.
The dog's alleged owners wouldn't comment on what happened and denied they had dogs at all.
93-year-old Modesto woman who died following an attack by a neighbor's dogs, plural, and a few days ago coming together Sunday to remember their loved one. Fox 40's Rowena Shaddix is speaking with that family and a neighbor tonight who are remembering her for her kindness and smile.
Family of 93-year-old Chanthy Philavong gathered outside the family home to remember their beloved mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother, who died from a recent vicious dog attack. Her family affectionately called her Grandma Chanthy, describing her as sweet, loving, and full of life, with a smile that warmed up an entire room.
It was 80 seconds, and everybody's lives changed.
Surveillance cameras of next-door neighbor Jenece Dendulk caught on video the two dogs, which are Cane Corsos, a breed of mastiff.
They actually came up to my door. We had this closed, thankfully, and I tried keeping them here because we saw a neighbor out front, and she was saying she was trying to call the dogs' neighbors, and then all of a sudden they took off, went over there, and I heard screaming, so I ran out, and we found the mom out here, the grandma on the ground with the dogs attacking her, and so, you know, I started throwing potted plants, shoes, whatever I could find, trying to help him get her in the house.
Police say Chanthy was taken to the hospital, where she later died.
Well, today is the 4th of December, 2023. I want to discuss today a case of an elderly woman that was unfortunately killed by two animals in Modesto, California. And the report goes as follows. On August 31st, Modesto police officers were dispatched to a residence in the 3600 block of Dauphin Drive at approximately 1:30 p.m. regarding a dog attack. Upon arrival, officers learned an elderly female who had been outside was attacked by two large dogs belonging to a nearby neighbor. She sustained major injuries and was transported to a hospital, according to a media release from the Modesto Police Department. Chanthy Philavong Mateu died on September 1st. The dogs involved, a pair of Cane Corsos, were captured on a neighbor's security camera rushing her front door moments before the attack. Jenece Dendulk said she opened her front door after the dogs rushed it, but stayed behind a metal screen door, which separated her from the dogs, whose combined weight easily surpassed 200 pounds. I opened the door and there's the screen. There's the two big old dogs. I'm like, oh, we're not going to answer the door. Dendulk told CBS 13 in an interview. She yelled to a neighbor who said they were trying to contact the dog's owner. It appeared the pair of dogs had escaped from the backyard of Mateu's next-door neighbor, reports CBS 13. After the dogs left her front door area, she heard a person screaming. We knew the dogs weren't friendly, Dendulk said. When she dashed out, she saw Mateu in her front yard being attacked by the two large dogs. Dendulk and neighbors were able to distract the dogs and get Mateu back inside her home. While reports initially indicated Mateu was in stable condition, her condition rapidly deteriorated. She died early the next morning. According to Modesto police, the two dogs are currently in custody at the Stanislaus County Animal Shelter. According to the neighbors, the owners of the dogs were not home at the time of the attack. They also commented that both dogs had shown repeated aggression since they were puppies, reports CBS 13. It is unclear if Modesto police are now pursuing criminal charges. Modesto Police Department, September 2nd, 2023. According to media reports, Mateu had been returning home from a doctor's appointment. She had just exited her car and was heading toward the front door when the dogs attacked. The victim's family has started a GoFundMe in memory of Chanthy Philavong Mateu. Our grandma was brutally attacked by our neighbor's dogs. She was taken from us unexpectedly, states the fund's organizer. Anything that helps would be greatly appreciated. The rise of fatal attacks inflicted by Cane Corsos has been on a long time in the coming. We began looking at Google Trends in about 2014, comparing the two terms, Cane Corso puppies and Pit Bull puppies. By 2015, the Cane Corso term had surged well above Pit Bulls, because Pit Bull breeders began marketing designer Pit Bull breeds under a different name, American Bullies. Around the same time period, we added to the comparison, showing the years January 2012 to August 2023. In July, a pet Cane Corso was involved in a multi-breed attack that killed 67-year-old Anthony Bastrati in Wilson's Mills, North Carolina. In March, a Cane Corso used for guarding purposes was involved in a multi-breed attack that killed 42-year-old Mateau Salvador at a home converted business in Jurupa Valley in California. In December of 2021, 4 pet Cane Corsos killed 26-year-old Karen Rosa Madrid in East Valinda, California. Rosa Madrid and her son had been living at the dog's owner's home at the time. Rationale of criminal charges. Long-time readers of our blog may recall the brutal attack of 54-year-old Juan Fernandez and his mother in Modesto in 2014. A pack of 4 pit bulls belonging to Fernandez's neighbors escaped their fencing and fatally mauled Fernandez in his own backyard and nearly killed his mother, Maria Fernandez. She amazingly survived after sustaining severe injuries. Those dogs had a history of burrowing under their fencing and harassing Fernandez and his mother. No charges were brought. At the time, the Modesto Bee ran a series of editorials questioning the bizarre lack of laws to prosecute owners of uncontrolled, recognized dangerous dog breeds. We stated in our related blog post, dog bite attorney Kenneth M. Phillips best summarized the subsequent debate. 4 pit bulls equal danger. When you have a dangerous condition, you have to take the steps to correct it. Owners who choose to own multiple aggressive breeds must have a higher standard mandated by law. If law enforcement cannot charge, then our lawmakers must step up and fix these laws. Why not require anyone with an aggressive dog to alarm their fencing, just as gates in fences around swimming pools are alarmed? Why not require owners of aggressive breeds to double fence their property? Why not require people who own such dogs to carry significant liability coverage, since these breeds are responsible for so much carnage? Make certain that anyone who owns one can cover the costs. No insurance, no license, no dog. A pair or more of beagles escaping a property is not comparable to the danger presented by a pair or more of pit bulls or mastiffs escaping. The Cane Corso is a mastiff. The average fence for a residential property, wooden or cyclone, is not engineered to be a barrier between life and death. They are not engineered to prevent a pair or pack of aggressive, powerful breeds from escaping either. When the owners choose to own 200 pounds of mastiff, stronger fencing should be mandated by law. As a side note here, it says there's a rising number of pit bull breeders that cross pit bulls and Cane Corsos to make larger pit bulls and to market this crossbreed as a Cane Corso, as a much more exotic name for sales purposes. There's even a Pit Corso term. By default, Pit Bull Cane Corso crossbreeds are also marketed as American Bullies or XL Bullies for sales purposes. So, that was among the latest reports of a death. In this case was a 93-year-old woman that was brutally attacked by a neighbor's pair of dogs. And again, the dogs came right to her doorstep, and that's where she got attacked as she attempted to enter her home coming from a doctor's appointment. This is sad, disturbing, and enraging all at the same time because, again, these people, these irresponsible and just disrespectful to life, disrespectful to neighbors, these people that have no kind of care for others other than themselves are often the cause of the death and these dog attacks. They're responsible fully for the death of that lady, and only in the lack thereof laws that criminalize this irresponsibility and lack of care and common sense, only in that situation is that these idiots and plainly criminals, they are frankly criminals. It's in this light that these criminals get away with literal murder. These people have lethal weapons in their possession. That lethal weapon happens to have 4 legs and a mind of its own, and happens to just fire at will. And that is how the law should look at these dogs and these dog owners, as people with weapons that allow that weapon to fire and kill someone else, whether it's a neighbor, a family member, someone in their own house, even themselves. It's how it should be looked at. And it is refreshingly in some areas, many countries of the world, rightfully so, looked as a crime when people allow animals, because it is allowed, these animals to escape by not correctly and securely fencing these animals in, caging them in, tying them up, or otherwise preventing their escape. These animals are allowed to get out. The relaxed and laxed attitude that these dog owners have with these animals when they leave them off of leashes, when they let them step out into their carports, their front yard, when they allow them to come in and out of the house, when they're around. It is this stupid and lax attitude that allows quote unquote mistakes to happen, that allows them to either leave fences unsecured, open in many instances, or barely closed, unlocked, and flimsily constructed or inadequate fences, or inadequately constructed fences, or fences of inadequate materials and construction. That is what happens when this attitude is present in these irresponsible dog owners, when they don't understand, they don't want to understand that these animals are aggressive and could cause someone their death, when they just deny that these animals are aggressive enough and dangerous enough to kill someone, when they often just don't want to admit that these dogs could pose danger. These people will deny that their dogs could actually bite. I have heard them myself. Many people, as you may know, claim that their dogs don't bite, and little do they know that it may not bite them, but they sure will bite someone they deem a threat, someone they deem an opponent, or someone they deem a prey, because these are, again, animals that are hunters, that are predators, animals that are pretty much wild. And again, the upbringing of these animals is hardly adequate. As I've said before, these people think that they are raising a loving animal in a loving home, when in fact, these animals are mostly abused and raised under very, very inadequate circumstances. They are left alone for long periods. They may be fed and they may be provided with water and shelter, but that is not enough. And these idiots should know that these animals are hardly ever raised under the best conditions. And it is known, it has been proven over and over again, that these animals are aggressive by nature due to their breed. And not only that, also due to their less than adequate upbringing. But primarily it is because of their breed. A breed that was bred usually and brought up and handpicked over many, many generations for fighting, for aggressiveness, for killing, for its power, its bite, the size of its teeth, the size and strength of its jaw and body. These animals are chosen over and over again, bred for these features, and to ignore that these animals are instinctively aggressive, that is wired in their brain. That is a feature that is purposely kept in their brain, not only in their bodies, but also in their brain, which basically operates and commands, drives their behavior. So if something is in their brain, it certainly cannot be undone easily. I argue that it cannot be undone even by the best of care, the best of attention, the best of circumstances. It is wired in. You cannot undo perhaps hundreds of years or 50 years or more or 75 years worth of genetic manipulation by humans in a lifetime of a pet, in months, perhaps a few years. You cannot undo that. And sadly enough, this case involved a very vulnerable and weak person that could not possibly fight back, let alone fight back two animals at once. And there is really no report of consequences. There's no update here on this website, dogsbite.org, on the outcome of the investigation, whether there were charges made or not. So it is something that I will need to follow. And of course, I support charges, criminal charges for these people, these dog owners, and they should be taught a lesson, and they should be used as scapegoats, pretty much sacrificial lambs for others to learn and to see that this type of behavior by people is just, one, not acceptable, and two, it is criminal to allow animals to kill someone else, your animals to kill someone else. They are your property. They are your weapons. Therefore, any accidental or purposeful attack or occurrence that ends in the death of someone, you are wholly responsible for as the dog owner.